Hello, this is Julian from Twin Flame Love, and in this video you're going to see a part of my latest Q&A special, and I'm going to show you an interview I held with an Australian twin flame couple. So if you're ready, I'm ready, let's go. And do all twin flames end up together? No. It's like basically I'm a believer in when you do the work, you see this person in as a mirror of yourself, and you get more and more into healing and transformation. You come to a place where you are so one with yourself that you don't suffer anymore, and the love flows from yourself to the other person. That's the quality of like real unconditional love. You don't even, I mean, you always will be wishing for relationships because we are human beings on this earth, but you'll be able to like more and more let go of this wish every once in a while and just be present and be happy in the present moment. And you come into a trust of everything that is like belonging to you or is good for you is coming into your life. That's like one key in this process, that you accept the fact that we as humans don't have control over anything. All you can do is like trust and let go, and then you will see what happens. And that's a real nice place to be. You will be feeling very free, and that's what everybody in this room can achieve. Coming to a place where you come into this fully trust, that everything that belongs to you is coming into your life, and it's a very, very, very nice place to be. And like that's the way how you build the foundation of a possible relationship. That's all you, that's the thing that's basically in your hands, and everything else is up to the universe. I'm a believer then that if you do the work, your twin flame is gonna come back to you. And I'm really passionate about proving this time and time again by doing this interview with twin flame couples, that they sometimes like have had times where they had no contact for like 5 years and both didn't forget each other and then end up being together. But they really did the work. They overcame a lot of healing, past life issues, wounding, healing and stuff. So that's basically what's in your hands, to see your twin as a mirror and then go more and more fully into healing. And that's what I'm about in my work, in my seminars, and I really try to motivate you here to get this work done. And the interview you will see in a few minutes, the couple, they did the work and they will explain what they did, and maybe it will get even clearer. So Anya asks, how often should I remotely connect to my twin flame? Interesting question. I'm a believer that every twin flame connection is unique, but there are really some common things that tend to happen most of the time, like 90%. One of the two is like running, like shutting down, building up a wall, and doesn't want to know anything about the twin anymore. That's like 90%. And the other one, like it's called the chaser, is really left behind, and he is like suffering like crazy at first. And in this phase of the path, it's more about focusing on yourself and healing the wounds. Often these are wounds of being rejected, wounds of being left behind, like childhood wounds. And in this phase, it's like better if you think less often of your twin than more often, because that's the phase is critical that you find yourself. So I would recommend that you heal those wounds. Maybe you found yourself in my words of like rejection wounds or left behind wounds and so on, and that's the phase where you I recommend you think like less of your twin. And if you feel that's an important key in this critical phase, if you think of your twin and you feel like a loss of energy, then it's time to really get him out of your attention for a second and really force yourself to do something for you and get to know you better, build up self-love and stuff. And if you do that over a period of time, then you will discover that the love will feel more and more free, and you won't lose any energy anymore. So that's really critical, because the most of you read about twin flames already, and they know that twin flames really have one energy field. And at first, when you are left behind, most people describe that they don't even have the energy to live their everyday life anymore, because they are so suffering and full of fears. And the interesting thing is that in this state, the chaser, the opponent, or not opponent, the other guy is getting all your energy, and he is using this energy to run. And they are not bad persons. They just have this pattern of fighting against feelings. They don't want to get vulnerable, and that's why they run. So in this state, it's better to focus on yourself and build up healthy boundaries, another important key, so you don't lose energy anymore. So the result is your chaser is not getting any more energy from you, and he will be forced to face his wounds, and he can't run anymore because he is losing the energy to run. So that's maybe the right answer for you right now. Alexandra asks, what's the best thing you advise to maintain the relationship as healthy as possible? Like I mentioned a few seconds ago, healthy boundaries are really a very, very important key to twin flames. And for the one who tends to be left behind and tends to suffer from this, building up healthy boundaries is really the key. For example, I have a lot of clients that are in some kind of relationship with their twin, but they have like 3 another woman on the side, and they don't even hide it. And because of all the fears, my clients, they tend to like still be in contact and still be together with this person, even though he has 3 women on the side. And that's like a boundary issue, because if you really are honest to yourself, it's really hurting to know that this guy has another or two, three other girls around, and when I work with these clients, they always end up building up healthy boundaries because they lose their fears and they get more self-esteem, and they get to a state where they really build these healthy boundaries and say, okay, I love you, but if you have 3 women on the side, it's too hurtful for me. I can't stay in contact with you. Please make sure you are clear about us, and then we can see. So that's like a very important issue and key, like healthy boundaries. So hello, I'm sitting here with Jacqueline and Aaron. First of all, thank you for the opportunity for this interview. And if you guys are ready, I would just start out.
Okay.
All right. The first thing I want to know is how did you guys meet for the first time, and how did you feel at that moment?
Okay, well, Jacqueline actually started to work with it in the form of dreams, but our physical meeting was at a gorgeous river in our local town that we're in at the moment, and how I felt is going to be difficult to explain because it sort of transcended feelings.
Well, there's definitely a pull. There was definitely a pull.
Yeah.
So I would say that just before we'd met, there's something significant that happened in me, and that was releasing who I thought was my twin flame, which is typically described as a catalyst. I had a huge letting go of all the beliefs that I'd formed that this was the person, and he was going to come up and we were going to be together. And there was something inside that just said, no, this clutching on, this desperation for love isn't authentic. And so as I let go of that within my being, I was just literally in a space of there was no one in my mind. I wasn't searching or looking for anything. I was very comfortable with being on my own and getting used to being on my own, because I'd had a lot of relationships and been in relationships, from the age of 15. I really consistently I really had no time to myself. And I decided to give that time to myself and to be present with my children. And I was not interested in men at all. I had just my sexual energy was just like, no, not there, not happening. I've had a lot of sex. I don't need sex. I need to be with me. And when I remember crossing this beautiful, beautiful bridge, gorgeous river, and I noticed Aaron with a child, and I had my children with me, and something just made me talk to him. There was something that just connected us, and it was the water that day. It was like crystal clear, and we could see all the fish swimming. It was just immaculate, and we both connected, and we were like, wow, what a gorgeous day. And then I heard his voice. And when I heard his voice, something inside me just went, oh, what? and then the ego kicked in, and then I started judging. I started judging his age. I started judging the way he looked. He's so young. Oh gosh, what do you? But his voice had this maturity in it that I had to know more. I had to talk to him. There was almost like I just could not talk to you. There was that pulling, but then the ego was like also there and it was present, and I was aware it was present.
Yeah.
We were judging each other.
Yep.
We were judging each other's bodies. We were judging each other's. Well, I was judging your age. You were probably, what were you doing?
Your age.
Judging my age. I had kids with me who were mine. God, I remember you were even judging my stretch marks on my breasts.
Well, not
Well, you know, that's the truth. We went through those little egoic insecurities that we actually, you know, what we judge in another we actually don't like about ourselves.
Yeah, I was getting hit up for my kyphosis.
So, you know, I was a personal trainer and, you know, spent a lot of time in the gym, and, you know, I was judging Aaron for how he looked and his posture. And it seems so pathetic. You look back and you think, what's wrong with us? Why is this ego so strong? Why do we care so much about, you know, little issues? And I think a big part of why a lot of body issues came up for us is because that's the main template that our parents hated about themselves. My mother had a lot of body issues, and so did your mother. And so
So we met each other swimming.
We met each other basically naked in a bikini and, you know, shorts.
Yep.
Pretty much, you know.
So each significant moment, like for example, meeting or in a certain trigger point, it's going to be significant around the details that are happening in that moment. For example, meeting each other in that moment, we were sort of exposed from the get-go.
Yeah.
Now, I think I can talk about that pull. That incredible pull, like a magnet, just absolutely incredible. In fact, I would go away from the area, and Jacqueline would just end up right next to me there again, and then she would go, and for some reason I'd come and drift back over, and it was just impossible to.
We had to talk to it. Nothing was going to stop that connection, because in a sense we've created the connection. So sometimes I think potentially where people could get stuck is they think their twin flame is something that's coming to them, something that's given to them, maybe given to them from God, given to them from source. But now when I look back, I realize that I actually created that experience. I created that experience. There was nothing gifting me that experience. I chose through my creation to create that shadow to come in for our own evolutionary process.
Expansion.
That's expansion. But, you know, eventually we connected, and we haven't actually been apart since. So we've not been apart since. I think Aaron went away for like
2 weeks.
Yeah, but in that time we were on the phone to each other the whole time. It was insane. And it's funny because it's not coming from a place of attachment. It's actually the opposite to attachment. There's no it's how do you explain that? There's no real. The attachment goes and it becomes you're working with you. Like it's that.
I believe that first moment of meeting, there is a distinctive battle between the ego and authenticity in that moment, between the immense connection and the ego, and you'll be able to tell that because I was warping in and out of timelessness, and then my story, my identity, going with this process that's happening right in front of me, and then slipping back out, and so that was very distinctive at the start.
Very distinctive. And there was that kind of feeling, which was actually what I would say more of a fantasy, where we actually did have a lot of bliss a lot of bliss, but that crashes so quickly because
And then the real process starts.
The real process starts where the identities are just in your face. There's no running from them.
However, what we've been working with a bit more lately is actually tapping into that immense heart vortex.
The heart vortex.
And so when your identity's under threat in that moment, your story and your ego, and you're facing this person, there's a huge heart expansion. We're walking down the street and every single person is staring at us like we're an art gallery. Like I'm thinking, is it the age difference?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Do we look so weird together? It's just this, and it's happened a few times when we've been at an extremely high energy level.
Yeah.
Is everyone just starts like looking at us in a fashion that is undeniably unique.
Very much.
It's like they're tapping into our field in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're not exactly sure what it is. It's almost like they can feel that it's different, but I also sense there's a sense of fear of that I wouldn't even call it new love, but that real authentic connection that's
quite in their face.
It's there, present in their face.
Without us saying anything or within an hour into the connection.
Yeah, it's almost can be a bit intimidating, but I think those who come in and are pulled in by this energy are able to handle the energy themselves.
Yeah, that's
Whereas
right.
those who kind of, even our family members have all kind of are not in our lives presently. And that's because of the energy that's here, that's present. And if someone, I guess, can't handle that or seeks that within themselves, then how are they going to handle that in another? It's like,
Yeah. And so if we're experiencing that at the start, this oscillation between ego, identity, story, and then immense connection, presence, and then we're oscillating, can you imagine people that, like other family members or just old friends, they can't actually, they'd be going through that experience as well while being around us, because you cannot keep that story and that identity and that ego and have the connection.
That's right.
And so what's going to happen is they can either choose to acknowledge the ego there and then process it and dissolve it, or just go a separate way and then and not actually be a part of it.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah.
So you mentioned that you didn't separate after the first meeting like a lot of twin flames do. Were there still some times where you felt like really pain and the other part mirroring something to you? And could you explain some examples of that?
So that's so common in like the twin flame community is I'm separate from my twin and I'm experiencing all this pain. Well, we have separated so many times, but we've stayed together through that actual separation in the physical. And the beautiful part of our dynamic has been that we've been able to process that separation together and then get even deeper insight than having to like be away from someone. Now, I actually experienced a pretty intense connection and relationship at the start of this before I actually met you, just like you did. And so did you. And so you experienced that catalyst and the separation before you even met me.
Yeah.
So you'd been separate from this intense relationship before you even met me.
Yeah, and I think I look at everyone in my life up until the point I met you was a catalyst. It doesn't matter if it was my mother, my ex-boyfriends, my father, they are all literally catalysts to awaken you. And no, we didn't have any physical separation. Yet I would say that I was the one that would have loved him to leave. and had told him to leave many times. Get out, get out, get out, get out. But what I would say the something is consciousness somehow allowed the process to alchemize within the union and within each other. And so there was no kind of, the running and chasing happened energetically, not physically. And in fact, we are also in contact with another couple who do this process, and they seem to have a very similar story to us. They've never split either.
They might have a huge trigger, and then for 3 days they're separate.
Or they sleep, or we sleep separately sometimes.
We sleep separately, and we, so they're all miniature separations, and they all point towards the wound of separation. And I'm absolutely fascinated in the twin flame community by this by the separation element, because I believe that it is a mirror and an opportunity to heal one of the biggest wounds in modern humanity, which has been the God program.
Yeah.
That you're this very physical, small little me, and there is a huge entity that created you, and you're separate from it. You can't actually see it. And so that's the most common wound in the whole twin flame community is I'm running and I'm chasing and I'm playing this game of separation, and it's the collective pain
that they're running from.
Yeah.
That's what I run from.
That's the opportunity that they can face. And so there is a route to this separation that twin flames experience.
Yeah. I think stuff we went through, and it was just like,
I think we're the pain specialists. I think we've done every different kind of style of pain. And every time, the reason I think we go through so much pain is because it is just that, it's pain, and it's not actually suffering. Because every time a pain comes up, we bring consciousness to it. It doesn't actually have the ability to turn into a state of suffering, which is resistance to that pain. Because we do not have resistance to the pain, that's why we're sitting with each other right now.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
We're not in a state of suffering. We are processing the pain that's dissolving.
Yes.
That's being alchemized.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, with all of those comes all the things that I was just talking about. You literally have to clear out those perimeters, the subconscious programs, the collective unconscious, the inner child. It's not as simple as we're just doing inner child work. It's a complex dynamic, and
it's so unique and new, and no one's better. There is no better way of healing from the pain than this very
connection.
Yeah,
definitely, absolutely.
Which means you experience tons of pain.
Do you have some like special examples for maybe some childhood wounds you discovered in yourself? Like some examples for those who view?
Yeah, just let me get the filing cabinet out.
Yeah, we've got tons. But I think what we can give them is probably one of our deepest inner child wounds that we've had to face. And for me, as if we're doing shadow work, I'm dropping into, say, a little girl who was hurt by her mother and father, and some of those have definitely related to sexual abuse. Now, Aaron energetically could mirror all of those, so I'm a victim, I'm a little girl, and that's the perpetrator. And I was mirrored that in this dynamic. I was mirrored the sexual abuse. I was mirrored pedophilia. I was mirrored a lot of things in terms of where those wounds originated from, why they had such a strong emotional pull on me. And a lot of it comes to do with guilt for feeling pleasure when when the molestation occurred as a little girl. So there was a lot of guilt that was suppressed around that.
And that immense splitting dynamic,
The splitting,
is why we're have done so much work around it, because it creates such a
well, there's a splitting at the actual mind splits. That's how mind control works. You split someone's mind and they're not sure who they actually are. And so I had to go through that, a lot of that kind of stuff, which was interesting because my bloodline that I'd incarnated in from holds that kind of mind control, the German era where a lot of that took place in Germany. So I was very pulled to cleansing out the mind control, sex slaves, the sex kitten programs. All of that stuff was coming up. And there's a lot of dark, horrific stuff that wanted to play out in this union, wanted to
carry on a
template, and we shut that shit down.
Well, we should.
Yeah, didn't we? But we're like, no, because we can recognize the patterns for what they are.
That's right. If there wasn't this level of consciousness, I believe that painful patterns have potential to repeat themselves, and that's how patterns repeat themselves. Because a person that's molested as a child, they cling to that victim story. They don't actually realize that it's a pattern more than it is an actual just situation.
Well,
it's a pattern that plays out.
Why they are clinging is because the pedophile or the perpetrator threatened them. So they split them, made them feel good, and then threatened them that they will come back. So for me, it was always the fear of he's going to come back. So until I actually manifest a perpetrator, get him in jail, then I'm safe.
And so if you're clinging to that story, she'll unconsciously, because I represent, in many instances I represent that, she'll actually want to put me in jail. So what we're doing is this immense, beautiful connection that you're witnessing right now. In amongst it, there's also a desire to put me in jail.
Yeah,
and there's desire to kill each other.
Yeah.
So that's why this is such an incredibly intense dynamic.
Yes, because there's clearing of the domestic violence within that masculine and feminine, which stems all throughout history.
Yes.
And then, you had to clear a lot of the masculine sexual programs, pornography.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, my wound that I've worked immensely with has been so when I actually met Jacqueline, it was the opposite. I was ready for women. So I was ready to explore women.
Well, he was a virgin.
I was a virgin when I actually met Jacqueline. So you've got a polarity, you've got an actual shadow right there, which has been a huge cavern. But for me, it was the childhood wound came down to worship. Something that I was trying to do when I met Jacqueline was seduction. So trying to play the actual seduction game. Now, if I've got a being that's open, and just remember, being open is one of the causes of your wound. Hello, I'm open for, say, a stepfather. I'm open for a boyfriend, and then they come in.
Yeah, I'm open to be loved.
And then I get hurt. So just remember, there's that pattern is waiting to play out. Be open, get hurt.
Yeah.
This pattern is to find someone open and actually hurt, because I was playing out a childhood pattern of worship, longing unconsciously to be in a state of worship. This is linked to an intense Christian upbringing, where the dynamic I saw with my actual mother, so the opposite birth parent, was one where she was in a constant state of worship to God. And so how do I actually get my attention from someone is that state of worship. And so working with that has been intense, because that's actually been able to push through the typical masculine sexual template of objectification, seduction, seduce and conquer, and everything of that sort has really stemmed a lot from there.
Yeah, and same, having that man who's always doesn't see me, that really represents the father. My father, he didn't see me. He, we're dropping back into the story.
Yeah.
So this is not what we're working with now.
No.
We're dropping into the story. So
significant childhood stuff.
And so you need to really feel the suppressed trauma that, that's what we do as children. We suppress it because we don't know how to cope with it.
Great. So you have your own story, and you also work with other people who have some twin flame experience. What is it that fascinates you the most about this twin flame phenomenon?
It is definitely unique because we've been through
very unique.
We've been through stages where we really detach from the whole twin flame concept altogether, and we use terms like
authentic.
The authenticity process is the name of our business and our
YouTube channel.
Yeah, and our YouTube channel.
Because it is a process.
And so twin flames for us has been the most significant part has been it's a way to get found, and it's a way to actually find each other, and it's a way to actually pull in people that are experiencing something similar.
But yeah.
And so the question, we might find it might sound a bit iffy here because we're up and down with actual twin flame concepts.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But it is so difficult to pinpoint and so difficult to actually describe. The one thing that fascinates me most is that you are doing a process of expansion, evolution, and ego dissolution with your shadow in the form of a relationship. Now, there's been gurus and teachers and spiritual masters and, everyone teaching paths to enlightenment. But this just is so different, and it's so intense, and it's so...
Well, there's no bypassing.
That's exactly it.
If you're, I'd say if somebody's like maybe running, you got to get to the root of what you're running from. What's the pain you're fearing? Because if someone's twin isn't with them, I don't, it's funny, I don't even like the word twin so much because it indicates that, I have this person that sticks to me like glue.
The thing that fascinates me the most about the twin flames is the level of attachment that comes with it.
Yeah.
And seen so many times that my twin really spells someone that will never leave me and will always love me, and they're there and they're waiting, and there's someone incredibly special beyond anything that I can ever actually imagine. And that needs to be confronted.
Yeah.
Because clinging onto that twin isn't actually facing the pain.
Well, let's give it an example of a client we had that we worked with, and he is very active on YouTube, and he came to us and we did some work with him, and he still believes that his twin flame, who he hasn't been in contact with for 8 to 9 years, is his twin flame. And as we did, we looked at the morphogenetic field, because that's what we work with. We look at the morphogenetic field, what template he's taken on. We go deep into the wounds that's presenting at that time. And there's huge, huge fears of
rejection
that this person's unwilling to face and to see. So the YouTube videos, almost, you can hear it in his language, how he says, my twin's running because they're not ready to face themselves. And it's like, no, you're not ready to face yourself. Dude, you're not ready to let go of this individual and see what they're presenting you. It doesn't, just because someone brings up pain for you or presents as a catalyst or a twin, doesn't mean that's actually that person there wants to do the process with you. You can invite someone completely new into the process if you're open to letting go and facing your rejection.
What a twin flame does is they are the perfect mirror to present the wound that you need to actually integrate to access expansion, and so if that person is rejecting you, they are presenting you with the wound that you need to actually work with. And the work that we actually did with this individual was incredible. We were able to get incredible understanding because we were able to face head on what was going on.
That's right.
And I want to get my twin. Well, the truth is that until you face what the twin is presenting to you,
it doesn't even have to be the twin. Let's look at it as what this woman in particular was presenting to this man was rejection. But his projection was that she's rejecting me because she's not ready. She's in denial, and it's like, that's you.
And how can people actually find you who are watching this interview right now and want to work with you? How can they actually find you and contact you?
Okay, so our website is called AuthenticityProcess.com.
Okay.
But where you see me and Jacqueline most intimately is on our YouTube channel, Authenticity Process.
Yeah, it's only 4 or 5 months old now.
Yeah.
So we've just started coming out because of the immense work that we had to do first. So there was a bit of hermetizing for a while.
Yeah.
A lot of just being here in this energy and working through these.
And now we're expanding
Now
out.
we're expanding it. Now we're ready to do that with others, because we have cleared a lot of the things that were stopping us in the first place, and the fears around that. So yeah, AuthenticityProcess.com. We've got a basic website for now.
Yeah.
It's, you're just going to keep it simple.
But we're focusing mainly on our YouTube channel. And so that's where we'll be regularly posting content.
Yeah.
And if people want to go and subscribe to that actual channel, they can keep in contact with us. And we're also always available to drop a line via email, and then if they want to get in contact with us further. On
Facebook, we have a page. Sometimes it's called Authenticity Process. But yeah, email is contact@AuthenticityProcess.com. And yeah,
Great.
that's it. We'll continue to do the videos.